Welcome to this edition of the Banner Press Sports Corner. Thanks for tuning in on your preferred platform. I'm Nicholas Hodel, sports writer here at the Brenner Banner Press. And we're back after a couple of weeks in the Sports Corner, and it could not have come at a better time with the Texas high school spring playoffs heating up. Softball has reached the regional semifinal stage, and the Burton Lady Panthers have a familiar playoff opponent this week in Weimar. Burton took the volleyball matchup between the two schools in the fall, while Weimar won the basketball matchup in the winter. Who takes the rubber match this spring? That will be answered this week. And joining me in studio to discuss the Lady Panther softball team is its new coach, Zack Zorn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
Absolutely. And we were just talking off air a little bit before getting this going. It's been a crazy last few days in here because of the weather, of just all the rain we've gotten. And that's kind of pushed you guys indoors a little bit. Just how well have you guys been able to adjust to all the rainy stuff this week?
Yeah, obviously haven't been able to get out on the field, but still been able to find a way, to get a lot of swings in. Luckily those guys at the batter's box, they allow us to come and, rent out their facility for, at least a good hour or so, and super grateful for them, their willingness to help us out. And, so it's been good, man, but I know the girls are definitely itching to get back out there and, get on the field.
Yeah. It's just, how much are you guys able to do there at the batter's box as far as working on, especially the hitting wise, working on swings and stuff?
Yeah, the girls are able to get in more swings, than we would in a general practice, and that's really mainly what we focus on. Pitchers are still able to throw bullpens too in there, but just kind of really focusing more on the offensive side of things, trying to really fine tune the swings, getting our bunts down and things like that. So a lot of offensive work. Hopefully we can get back out there tomorrow on the field and get some type of, defensive work in and get the leather on before we get out there Thursday.
Yeah, so it seems like everything but the fielding's been addressed over the last 2 days then in the batter's box.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah, tomorrow, wherever we go, wherever we end up, we will definitely be putting the gloves on one way or the other for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm sure having resources like that, and I know when it's not quite as bad out there having the turf at Burton City Park to work at too. I'm sure that's been super helpful this year, getting things in that you otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity to. It's just how nice is that to have those spots to be able to get work in?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Early in the season, our city park down there, with them having a turf infield, it saved us a lot with practices and in games. If we were getting rained out at the high school field, we were able to utilize those facilities. And then, when everything gets rained out, to be able to, go take swings in the batter's box. I'm just super grateful that we have those resources and that we have people in the community that are willing to help us out, and support us in that way. And it's awesome because I know that it's not that way everywhere you go, and not every school or every community has those type of resources. So for us to have them and good people backing us to be able to utilize them, it's awesome.
Yeah, especially when you have a smaller 2A school within the grasp of a much larger county community like there is here in Washington County, where you have a 5A school in Brenham and other resources around it that really help them out too. So that's got to be super nice for you guys to have in your back pocket to utilize as well.
Yeah.
Last weekend for y'all, area around against Granger took them down in 2 games over the course of Friday and Saturday. Should have been Thursday and Friday, but there was more weather with that as well. Just what do you think were some of those more memorable moments that really propelled you guys on to this week?
As far as last year goes, I think, our game one, was the second inning. We had an offensive explosion there, a big home run, kind of put us on the board. And I thought we swung the bats really well. Bailey pitched a great game. Thought we got a really good effort from Granger too, and they did a good job of putting some pressure on us while they were on offense, but our girls kind of, held them in check, didn't allow the big inning to happen. And then, I thought offensively Saturday for us was kind of polar opposite. We struggled to hit. Did not hit as well as we did, game one, but we're able to find ways, have timely hits, and get girls on and get them over, get them in. And, obviously another great pitching performance by Lexi, and message to the girls at the end of that. I think the tale of 2 different offenses there at this point in the year, at the end of the day, we're going to run up and get some good pitching. Might not be our best day hitting, but the biggest thing is getting key hitting, timely hitting. And, the end of the game, having one more run on the board than they do, I think that team goes undefeated every single time. So it's finding ways to win, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lexi was really strong with 7 clean innings, no runs allowed, only a couple of hits allowed. I mean, she was, and then 2 hits herself to lead you guys on offense too. I mean, she pretty much carried you guys into the regional semifinals with that game 2 win. Just, I know we talked about earlier in the week as well for the Thursday paper, but just how big was that from her to be able to get that out of her and perhaps single-handedly get you guys onward?
Yeah, no, she had a great game, obviously on both sides of the ball. Yeah, and for her to step in, as well as those other freshmen, at this point in the season, thought they'd done a really good job of handling the game, any type of pressure. The way they play and the way they go about the game, you wouldn't think they're freshmen. They've definitely played and handled themselves at a very mature level, and I think it shows. And for her to, have that game for us Saturday, I thought it was great for her. And I mean, it was definitely her day. We needed her to have that day. She stepped up big time.
Yeah, and having a 2-pitcher staff with Lexi and Bailey's probably really helped you guys out in these 3-game series as well. Just especially in a 2-way classification where a lot of schools may only have 1 pitcher to work with. Just how valuable is that to have both of them working really well in the postseason?
Yeah, it pays off really big for us. Just to be able to throw, different arms at them have to adjust from pitcher to pitcher. But the other deal too, is and I feel a sense of comfort in both those pitchers, knowing that, it's not ridden solely on their shoulders, that there are options. They know they don't have to go out there and throw all 3 games, because obviously, and especially at this point in the year too, it's humid, it's hot out there. You're playing against great teams. Every game's a battle. And, for them to know that they don't have to go out there and throw every single pitch of every single game, but to give it their all when their number's called, I think that's paid off huge for us. And I can see their confidence continuing to grow.
Yeah. Now that's one thing Bailey told me earlier this week too, is that she doesn't feel like all the pressure's on her. And it was that way last year where you guys lost in the area around a Thrall, and she had to go in there and continue to battle throughout that whole thing. Just have you sensed that relief from her throughout this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bailey's always been a girl. For her first 3 years, she was the pitcher, and so I think she's gotten to a point where she can handle that pressure. But yeah, definitely a sense of relief knowing that that we have other arms on the team too, and the more than capable arms as well. And I think that has kind of eased some of the tension and relaxed her a little bit. And when it's her time to go out there and throw, she can let it rip. And when Lexi's number's called, I know she has just as much confidence as we all do in her as well. So yeah, it's been great to see.
Yeah, and I know with Lexi and Lacey both, they've come in and made immediate contributions to this team that, in a way, that's made you guys a whole lot deeper as a unit this year. It's just, I mean, how much more of a difference can you kind of sense with your roster depth with both of them there? Yeah,
I think just having those young girls step up and perform the way they have this year, I sense more of a team confidence. I know when those seniors first started as freshmen, I know the roster wasn't near as deep, but each year it's just kind of continued to grow and grow. And obviously with the addition of these freshmen, now that we have girls that can play multiple positions, or really, I mean, there's some girls that we have multiple starters that don't have an opportunity to start. I mean, it's just, we're that deep. So for us to have so many different options, you can definitely sense, and it's been this way since the beginning of the season, just overall growth in each one's confidence and belief in one another. And to me, that goes just as far as talent goes.
Yeah. And to really speak upon that depth, just outside of your freshmen and Bailey, just who else do you think's really stepped up this postseason over the last 2 weeks?
I think at some point in all, with the 4 playoff games that we've had so far, I feel like, there's been at least all 9 to 10 starters have kind of had their moments. obviously the first series, I think, we had 4 or 5 home runs that Thursday. And, every single person has kind of had their different moments where they've had to step up and shined. Obviously Reagan hitting, her first home run of the season, her first at bat of the playoffs. That was big. Amaya, she's been swinging it really well. Paige, really just top to bottom throughout the lineup, and even on defense, everybody's had their number called at one point in time and stepped up, which is good to see. I mean, like we've talked earlier in the season, that's what it takes. Is a total team effort, and I think Saturday was kind of a good example of that. We talked about the game that Lexi had. Obviously that was her day, and we've talked about it as a team. Every single game isn't going to be your game, but trusting that if it isn't your game, that your teammates are going to have your back, and pick up your slack, then we're going to be okay. So it's been cool to see, and I think everybody's kind of played a part in this, so far.
Yeah, and I imagine you feel a lot more comfortable 1 through 9 than even at any point last year. But just throughout the course of this year in particular, is there a point in time where you can say that you felt more comfortable in your lineup 1 through 9 than you are right now?
No, I think I feel really good about where we're at right now. I think offensively, especially even with the game that we had, Saturday where we didn't hit the ball as well as we liked. I love where our confidence is still at. 1 through 9, to me, there's not many, if any, holes in our lineup. All the girls are swinging it well right now. I feel like they're seeing the ball well. We just plan on continuing doing that going forward.
Yeah, we have Burton softball coach Zack Zorn with us in the Banner Press Sports Corner this week ahead of a regional semifinal that comes after the program's first area championship since 2005. It's been a long time since we've talked about Burton softball this deep into the month of May, and I know for you to be able to head up this program right now in the midst of a golden era with an undefeated district championship and now this particular milestone, just how has that been to lead this group of girls into battle every time?
Man, I'll tell you, I feel extremely blessed to be in this role and have this opportunity. I can't speak highly enough about these girls, not just how they are as athletes, but as people too. It's one thing to go out there with a talented roster, but if people, if there were no good personalities on the team, or people who were miserable to be around, but I'm telling you, with this group right here, I mean, these young ladies, they excel in everything they do, whether it's in the class, in any other type of extracurriculars they're in, whether it's FFA or any other sports, volleyball, basketball, they try to be the best at everything they can be. And for me to be in this position and to lead these young girls and to see that success translate on the field, man, it's been an honor to be their coach. And I'm extremely blessed, and I don't take any day for granted. That's for sure. I try to enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah, but of course the job's not done. Nowhere
Correct.
Close to it. And you guys had at the start of the year had this goal of going out there and winning a state championship, and now you're 2 rounds past, 4 rounds to go. Is that goal becoming a little more real within the clubhouse of winning a state championship?
Yeah, I think each week as you go by, you start inching towards that goal. I think a message too that continue to remind the girls, after every week is, although that is our goal, business has to be taken care of this week, and I know the girls are fired up to play Weimar. Like you said, it's a rivalry. They've seen them in a multitude of other sports. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel that goal inching closer and us getting closer to it. But I think we still have to take it one step at a time and not get caught looking too far ahead,
Right. I know this region is not easy with Weimar, and then again, hate to look beyond the path, especially right after you just said that, but Shiner as well, possibly in a regional final. Just how important is it going to be for this team to kind of continue to step up the level of play as these weeks go on?
Yeah, I think it's just being consistent in what we've done up to this point to get us here. And it's playing as a team, coming together as a team, and scrapping for a full 7 innings. I told the girls, when after we left Caldwell the other day, there's only 16 teams left in our division. And, everybody's going to be good up to this point, but for us to continue our success, man, I think it's just continuing to believe in each other and continuing to fight. We play a full 7-inning ball game. I feel like we're a really tough team to beat.
Yeah, and of course, and Weimar's coming in with a pretty solid record of their own. They play in a really tough district with the likes of Shiner and Ganado and Schoenberg and Flatonia. It's a tough district they're in, too, so I know they're going to be battle-tested. How confident do you feel in the battles you've taken this year to be able to match up to that?
I feel great. I feel like we've prepared ourselves really well and played a lot of great teams, in non-district scheduling. Try to get as many competitive games and play the best teams as possible to prepare us for these points, and I thought getting in the Franklin tournament was great for us to see. We played against a lot of 4A, 5A competition and did really well and competed really well in that tournament. And unfortunately, we only got a couple games in the Caldwell tournament, but faced a lot of good teams there as well. And and I thought, as far as district goes, playing Milano and Mumford and some of the other arms that some of the other teams had, I feel like has prepared us, for these moments as well.
Yeah, and certainly Milano is certainly a really good team there, and Mumford's always brought up these last 2 years, but you also have the chance to play Bel-Air as okay, that's nice. Thank you. that was gonna go right over my head. But almost right before these plays, I had a chance to play them in a really talented private school as well. It's just, how much do you think that the girls learned from that game?
I think that game was not trying to toot my own horn by any means, because that's just where our bye fell. But I thought it landed at a perfect spot for us, and to be able to get that game in against them. Yeah, really talented program, a lot of Division I ball players on their team, and for us to go out there and we dropped it. It was 7-0, but I felt like at the end of that game, I think the score was a heck of a lot closer, than what it may have seemed. But for us to go out there and compete and for it to happen at that time, right before we go and play Milano for a district championship, I think it was great for our girls. And I feel like that was a big game too, even with it being a loss. You can learn a lot from a loss, probably more from a loss, really, honestly, than you can a victory. And it showed us, in some points, areas that we needed to strengthen up on. And that game played a big benefit for us moving forward.
Yeah, if that's one of your only 4 losses, I'd say you're doing pretty well as far as the record is concerned. And I know that record's gone a lot better this year than it has been, even in recent years where you guys have made it to playoffs and have been in that second round. Just how much do you think this team's really improved to be able to get past that second round this year?
Yeah, I think it goes back to just kind of that team mentality and fighting through those tough games. That's where I would say the biggest improvement has kind of come throughout this year is just the culture that we tried to instill within these girls, and putting team first and just going out there and fighting for each other. I think that's been the biggest thing. I told them at the very beginning of the season that we had a meeting and they were aware there was a lot of talent sitting in the room. But I wanted them to understand that, talent can only take you so far, but a talented team can go even further, and I'll tell you, man, once we, I think it really opened their eyes when we had some success in that Franklin tournament, and then just to go through district and have some tough games that we had to battle through 7 innings, and fight till the end. Really started to see those girls come together, and that to me, that's been a huge part of our success.
Yeah, certainly so. And as we approach this week against Weimar, the series will be in Waller, beginning on Thursday night with Game 1, Friday night for Game 2, and if necessary, Saturday afternoon there. Just how close do you anticipate this series being in the regional semis?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. Obviously Weimar's talented, going to be well coached. Got a lot of girls that have played a lot of ball growing up. I definitely feel like we're ready for the fight. I think it's going to be a great series. We talked about only being 16 teams left, everybody's going to be good at this point, but I feel really good where our heads are at, and I like our chances going into it if we play good ball.
Yeah, certainly. And again, and you must be feeling really fortunate to be close by to Wallers. We're not too far away there, and everything. Just, is that something you think might play a part in having a decently favorable location for the community to come out and support?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's still going to be close enough where we're going to be able to have a good turnout with our fans. They always seem to do a good job, even when we played in at West Fork High School, the first round. We had a really great turnout, even after the 2-hour weather delay. A lot of people stuck around. But yeah, no, I expect a great turnout. I know our girls get excited, when they see the stands packed. I think that brings out a little extra energy in them. But yeah, no, it's definitely exciting, and I'm glad we're at the location we are.
Yeah, of course, the Buc-ee's is right there too. So
yeah,
so that definitely helps. Anytime you can be that close to a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
But really, as we start to wrap things up here, of course, there will be eventually an end to this postseason run, whether it's this week, next week, or hopefully way at the end of May in Austin, the state championship game. Just how much hope do you think there's going to be for this kind of success to continue to translate over the course of 2026, 27, and even further beyond that?
Yeah, no, as far as the future of the program goes, I feel really great about it, Nick. We have as far as our starters go, I mean, it's pretty staggered when you look at the different grade levels that they're in. Obviously these seniors have done a fantastic job of laying this foundation for success that we're having this year. And I feel really good about our juniors on down, to continue to carry that success. Obviously, a lot of them have had starting experience, this past year, 2 years. No, I feel really good about picking up right where we may leave off this year.
I presume you're getting a lot of talent coming up from the junior high level as well. How excited does that make you for the future with that program?
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome to see the foundation built, and for more and more kids, to continue to buy into the program, because I know that's a tough thing, but to have that community support and parents and families that are seeing the success of these girls and wanting their kids to continue to grow. I feel like Burton softball will be extremely competitive for years and years to come.
Yeah, and as for these seniors, they've seen it when it was kind of just starting to really become a big deal as far as this level of success, and now they're leading the most successful season in 20 years for this program. Just how much of that do you think is on the seniors for especially Bailey and Reagan, to be that battery that's been there for all 4 years at that position? Just how much of this do you think leads back to what they've done the last 4 years?
I think most of it leads back to them. When I left Burton, being the baseball coach, the program was at a time where they were having to beg girls in the hallway just to get 9 or 10 out there to field a team. And for them to come in and, they started as true freshmen, one's pitching, one's catching, every single game. And I know they had to go through some tough games, and for them to just continue to battle and do what they've done and continue to work hard and buy into the program, and buying into me too. That's the other big thing too as a coach. Last year being my first year, knew both the girls, but it had been a while since I had seen them. They were at 5th grade, 6th grade PE when I left. But for me to come back in and be their coach, and for them to, just kind of build that relationship and that trust within me, and everything that they've done to buy in and lead this program, I attribute a lot of the success to them and their hard work that they've contributed the last 4 years.
Yeah, and of course we get to the point where you start thinking about after this year, I know the pitching's kind of laying itself out with Lexi, but that catcher position's going to be sitting there for you. I mean, is there perhaps some people waiting in the rings to take that on for next year?
Yeah. As far as the catching goes, we have a few girls who've had experience doing it, not full time like Reagan has, but that'll definitely be something that we've already started to work on. Some in practice this year, but next year, we'll definitely come back to it. And each team, every single year you get new pieces. And, as a coach, I think your main job is trying to figure out those, the way the puzzle works for that specific year. So, but yeah, there's still, plenty of talent coming back and girls with experience. And, I think whichever option we may choose to replace Reagan, we'll hopefully fill her shoes and, step up and contribute the way she has.
Yeah, of course, catcher is another prime position to have. So right. That's going to be, we'll be fascinated to see how that goes next season. But still got a lot of playoffs left, and we have all that for you in the Banner Press. And the Tuesday's edition, certainly no exception to that, with recaps of all 4 teams in the county. Burton's area championship. Burton baseball is by district win over Big Sandy. They got a big area series against Harper coming up this week. And that's for the Brenham baseball and softball. They both unfortunately were knocked out. We still have recaps of both of their particular series. And especially the Friday went from going from you guys to seeing the softball had been delayed. Eventually a game in Kingwood Park being played. A long Friday. That's all in Tuesday's paper. But also in Thursday's paper, you have playoff previews coming up for these guys taking on Weimar in the regional semifinals, and for Burton baseball as well, taking on Harper at Buda Hayes in the area round of the baseball playoffs. So got a lot of information coming up for you this week in the Banner Press. And to receive all that local information, sports and news that does matter to you can subscribe on our website, BrennanBanner.com, or you can call 979-836-7956. Again, that website is BrennanBanner.com, and that phone number is 979-836-7956. 7956. You can call that number, let our good folks take care of you that way, or you can do it digitally. Either way, we certainly appreciate your support. Again, thank you so much, Court Zorn. Certainly want to wish you good luck against Weimar this weekend. I've been Nicholas Hodel. Have a very good rest of your week, everyone.